if your partner is in the office, then firstly you just can't be doing funny things lah. Like I've seen some colleagues buying coffee for other
So do
colleagues
you want
of
to buy
other
coffee
gender.
for other people?
So imagine if your wife is there and then you're buying coffee every morning for another female colleague. Obviously, that's quite impossible to do, right? JP. I work at iFAST. It's going to be my 20th year, and I'm married. I have 3 kids, and my wife happens to work here as well.
How did you meet your boyfriend?
iFAST in office.
You like anybody in the office?
Nope.
Wow, that was a fast one. Would you date a colleague?
No, 100% no.
Why?
Work-life balance. For example, if I bump into him, right, then if all's good, then I feel very excited and happy. Then I cannot concentrate on my work. And the opposite is true. If I bump into him, right, and I'm very angry with him, then I feel very angry. Then I cannot concentrate on my work also.
We met in the office, yes, as colleagues. We were working on a few projects together. From there, then I got to know her better. But all part of work, of course.
Were you guys in different departments?
Yes, we came in about the same time. So the people around us just hang out together. Then we went drinking, all that. Then 爱的火花.
Did you guys try to keep it a secret?
Yes.
We didn't want to keep it so-called a secret. We agreed mutually, like even without really discussing much, we were like, oh, we have to inform our senior colleague, so our manager.
You don't really want people in office to talk about it, so we come together on the same train, but we'll try to come up at different timing. I will come up first, then he will come up later. We just turn separate ways.
So you guys schedule timing?
So always I go up first, because I got the ownership boss was my ex-boss, so I need to reach office earlier.
We didn't want her to also find out from, the little birds, like whispering and like, hey, I think they're together. We didn't want her to find out that way. Interesting enough, he actually also caught us dating in the early days. So all the more we were like, oh, we should tell our manager early so that she found out from us straight lah. Yeah.
Then how did people find out?
I post on Instagram. Then somebody stalked and happened to see like the Insta story. Then in office there's no secrets lah, basically. So when one person knows, then the whole company will know.
Would you recommend keeping the relationship a secret, or do you think that they should actually just be open about it?
I think you can be open about it. I mean, instead of people talking behind your back, people know the office is just this big. People see things. I mean, you can go to a mall and people see you. So instead of people talking, you should just be open about it. Like mine was a bit awkward because other people find out, then people start asking you about it, right? Then I was like, I should just told people because it's so awkward. Oh, so you are dating him, is it? Then just, yes. Then it just ends there. Might as well you just tell people, then it's easier. Or in fact, when you're dating, you can just show already.
Show
you can
in
just
what
go and
way?
eat together. People will know, then it's okay. Just admit and say yes.
Take myself for example.
Yeah.
If I go out with my partner, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we talk about work. So a large part, quite a big part of our conversations kind of revolve around work. Because after all, work takes up a lot of your time. What do you guys talk about if you all don't bring work to the conversation at home?
I think firstly, Xuan, because you're not married yet and you don't have kids.
Even before, after dating, we didn't talk about work in office.
Oh, so while you guys were
No.
dating, you all never talk about work?
No.
Even outside of work?
No. I mean, you already work 7-8 hours a day. I don't think you want to talk about work after work.
So outside work, right, there are so many things to actually talk about and plan on a day-to-day basis. So the kids take up quite a bit of our conversations. Not just the daily planning and the scheduling, but also like just talking about funny stuff in terms of what the kids did or say. And also, of course, we then try also to talk about each other. Before having kids, we also have our pets. We had our dog and cat. So we will have a life, I would say, after working hours, which I think it's a healthy thing to do because while work has been a very important part of our life, especially work at iFAST, because you don't spend 20 years in a company and don't grow attached to the company or to its culture and so on, right? But at the same time, we also go through different cycles of our life where maybe in the earlier days we talk a lot about maybe work perhaps, but when we then move to a season of marriage and kids, then naturally they take up quite a lot of our conversations lah.
What do you think are the biggest challenges that an office couple would face?
I think the biggest challenges is the very clear differentiation of work and personal life. I think we have seen enough examples of people outside, when they cannot differentiate between work and personal life, it gets very messy lah. And also a lot of conflict of interest. And then the perceived, to me, I feel that if you're in different departments, it's not so bad because handling different kind of aspect of the company. But when in the same team, it gets a little messy. And then there is always that underlying judgment by people like, are they doing it because of personal interest, or are they doing it because of very selfish interest, or are they doing it for the sake of company?
You have never gotten comments from other people like, maybe they feel that you are biased or she's biased, or you guys might tend to support each other more in the workplace?
Yeah, so we've never gotten that. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they don't want to also say it to me if they notice it, but I think the reason is because we have kept it extremely professional. Firstly, it's for our own sanity lah. Yeah, it's for us to just keep it very separate as much as we can. So for example, after work, we try not to bring the work stuff back home and then talk about it. So we rarely have, we don't even have occasions where we will like tell each other, hey, why do you talk to me like that during office? Because when we were at work, we were just extremely neutral and objective.
Let's say your wife isn't going to watch this. What do you think is a con? Pros and cons, right? So what are the cons of having a relationship in the office?
So I would say generally it's that perception of lesser freedom. If your partner is in the office, then you just can't be doing funny things lah. Like I've seen some colleagues buying coffee for other
So do you want to buy coffee for other people?
So imagine if your wife is there and then you're buying coffee every morning for another female colleague. Obviously that's quite impossible to do, right? It's
Wait,
not
so
like
do
I
you
wanted
want
to
to
do it.
that? Wait, why is that a con?
Let's say before even getting married,
Okay.
you're like going through the phase of just getting to know each other,
Okay.
just having a relationship and wondering where that would lead you to. And if you're the kind that just being open about having maybe different partners or different relationships, maybe not at the same time, or maybe at the same time, I won't judge. Yeah. Okay. On a more serious note,
For us, there's no challenge because I think our work don't really cross path. Because it was in ops, I was in the sales side, so don't really cross lah. It's like more like me asking him things, but conflict-wise, no. He left 3 months later, not because of me.
So how about the pros, the advantages of having a relationship in the workplace?
I guess the advantage is having somebody who kind of knows the dynamics in the office, and then therefore is quite understanding of of what you're talking about sometimes. So if you're like saying, so and so said this, or so and so is such a pain, then maybe it's like, yeah, I kind of get that, yeah. Whereas if you're talking to a partner who's from a totally different, field, sector, or doesn't even work, then sometimes the other partner may not quite get it or cannot quite empathize with you. So I think the pro then it's like you have someone who's by right quite on the same page lah when you're saying something about work.
You can see how the person's temper is. I mean, at work, supposedly you lose your cool more often. But the downside is we didn't cross path, right? So I don't get to see that. But at least in office, you see the way people behave during discussion, all that. You can see their temperament, I would say.
What's the secret to successfully bringing your workplace romance to the next level, which is marriage, right? Can you share some advice to those who might be in the same boat as you were previously?
Yeah, I think first go in knowing that it's going to be very challenging. Yeah, I think that's how we started. We knew that it was going to be tough. And that's why we thought, let's just be very open with our boss. But I think it helped a lot that our boss was a very wise person who also gave us pretty good advice. So I would say the the expectation of knowing that it's not going to be easy, and therefore you need to be very open about it with each other. And if you're serious about it, then to think of how you can sustain that relationship lah. Because there will be a lot of challengings coming your way. A lot of the questions you ask me are some of the challenges. For example, oh, what if people think that you're biased in how you deal with your spouse at work and things like that. So you need to be very mature, I would say, about it, to be prepared that those comments could come your way. But as long as you're very mature and open discussing it with your spouse, then in a way it helps a lot lah. It does not really matter so much about what other people really think. And I think the most maybe important thing also, a very important thing I would say here is that I have very supportive bosses. Yeah, because imagine if your bosses are the kind that it's better not lah. It's not so healthy for both of you, and also people will comment and they will think that there's conflicts and blah blah blah. Then obviously you will feel quite pressured to maybe have one of the members of the couple then leave the company eventually lah. And I think that's what a lot of couples do. They do meet in the office, but after that, one of them then leave the company eventually. But here, both my big boss and my immediate boss, they were just so supportive and understanding. And during the different years of our relationship, there were even other people, very senior people, even commenting like, oh, is that healthy? Wouldn't you feel like your wife has to listen to you, or vice versa, or feel forced or obliged to do what you want? So there were comments like that, but then my boss was like so chill about it. It's like, oh, as long as you guys know how to deal with the relationship and you're professional about it, then that's fine. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah.